We are here for our chapter 3 of book Think and Grow Rich. Mind your own business. The rich focus on their asset column while everyone else focus on their income statements. In 1974, Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's, was asked to speak to the MBA class at the University of Texas at Austin. A friend of mine was a student in that MBA class. After a powerful and inspiring talk, the class adjourned and the students asked Ray if he would join them at their favorite hangout to have a few beers. Ray graciously accepted. What business am I in? Ray asked. Once the group had all their beers in hand, everyone laughed. My friend said most of the MBA students thought Ray was just fooling around. No one answered, so Ray asked again, what business do you think I am in? The students laughed again, and finally, one brave soul yelled out, Ray, who in the world doesn't know that you are in the hamburger business? Ray chuckled. That's what I thought you would say. He paused and then quickly added, ladies and gentlemen, I am not in the hamburger business. My business is real estate. As my friend tells the story, Ray spent a good amount of time explaining his viewpoint. In his business plan, Ray franchised, but what he never lost sight of was the location of each franchise. He knew that the land and its location were the most significant factors in the business of each franchise. Basically, the person who bought the franchise was also buying the real estate under the franchise for Ray Kroc organization. Today, McDonald's is the largest single owner of real estate in the world, owning even more than the Catholic Church. McDonald's owns some of the most valuable intersections and street corners in America and around the globe. My friend considers this as one of the most important lessons in his life. Today, he owns car washes, but his business is the real estate under those car washes. 25 years later, fast forward 2022, McDonald's, KFC, and Burger King hold the sports as the three largest global franchise brands, with Subway and Starbucks in the hunt. In 2021, McDonald's alone posted global sales of $89 billion, and industry-wide sales growth is consistently in the double digits. The previous chapter presented diagrams illustrating that most people work for everyone but themselves. They work first for the owners of the company, then for the government through taxes, and finally for the bank that owns their mortgage. When I was a young boy, we did not have a McDonald's nearby, yet my rich dad was responsible for teaching Mike and me the same lesson that Ray Kroc talked about at the University of Texas. It is secret number 3 of the rich, often directly. Sorry, that secret is mind your own business. Financial struggle is often directly the result of people working all their lives for someone else. Many people, many people will simply have nothing at the end of their working days to show for their efforts. Our current educational system focuses on preparing today's youth to get good jobs by developing scholastic schools skills. Their lives will revolve around their wages, or as described earlier, their income column. Many will study further to become engineers, scientists, cooks, police officer, artists, writers, and so on. These professional skills allow them to enter the workforce and money for work for money. But there is a big difference between your profession and your business. Often I ask people, what is your business? And they will say, oh, I am a banker. Then I ask them if they own the bank, and they usually respond, no, I work there. In that instant, they found confused their profession with their business. Their profession may be a banker, but they still need their own business. A problem with school is that you often become what you study. So if you study cooking, you become a chef. If you study the law, you become an attorney, and study of auto mechanic become you a mechanic. The mistake in becoming what you study is that too many people forget to mind their own business. They spend their lives minding someone else's business and making that person rich. To become financially secure, a person needs to mind their own business. Your business revolves asset, around your asset. Asset column, not your income column. As stated earlier, he number One rule is know the difference between an asset and a liability. And to buy assets, the rich focus on their asset column while everyone else focus on their income statement. That is why we hear so often, I need a raise. If only I had a promotion. I am going back to school to get more training so I can get a better job. I am going to work overtime. Maybe I can get a second job. Financial struggle is often the result of people working all their life for someone else. In some circles, these are sensible ideas, but you are still not minding your own business. These ideas all still focus on the middle column and will only help a person become more financially secure if the additional money is used to purchase income generating assets. The primary reason the majority of the poor and the middle class are fiscally conservative, which means I can't afford to take a risk, is that they have no financial foundation. They have to cling to their jobs and play it safe. When downsizing became in became the in thing to do, millions of workers found out their largest so-called assets, their homes, was eating them alive. Their asset was costing them money every month. Their car, another asset, was eating them alive. The golf club in the garage that cost $1,000 were not worth thousand anymore. Without job security, they had nothing to fall back on. What they thought were asset could not help them survive in a time of financial crisis. Fast forward to today, jobs. Unemployment continued to be a hot topic in election cycles and throughout in the pandemic. Hikes in the minimum wage, government initiatives that pay people not to work, and automation are all realities in today's world. Reports often reflect different formulas and statistics, oftentimes by design. Another sobering thought, the rise of robots. I assume most of us have filled out a credit application to buy a house or a car. It's always interesting to look at the net worth section because of what accepted banking and accounting practices allow a person to count an asset. One day, when I wanted a loan, my financial position did not look too good, so I added a new golf club, my art collection, books, electronics, Armani suits, wristwatches, shoes, and other personal effects to boost the number in the asset column. But I was turned down because I had too much investment real estate. The loan committee didn't take that I made so much money from rent. They wanted to know why I did not have a normal job with a salary. They did not question the Armani suits, golf club, or art collection. Life is sometimes tough when you do not fit the standard profile. I cringe every time I hear someone say to me that their net worth is $1 million or a $0.1 million or whatever. One of the main reason net worth is not accurate is simply because the moment you begin selling your assets, you are taxed for your gains. Life is sometimes tough when you do not fit the standard profile. So many people have put themselves in deep financial trouble when they run short of income. To raise cash, they sell their assets. But their personal assets can generally be sold for a fraction of the value that is listed on their personal balance sheet. Or if there is a gain on the sale of the asset, they are taxed on the gain. So again, the government takes its share, thus reducing the amount available to help them out of debt. That is why I say someone's net worth is often worth less than they think. Start minding your own business. Keep your daytime job, but start buying real estate, not liabilities or personal effects that have no real value once you get them home. A new car loses nearly 25% of the price you pay for it the moment you drive it off the lot. It is not a true asset even if your banker lets you list it as one. My $400 new titanium driver was worth $150 the moment I tied off. Keep expenses low, reduce liabilities and dignity, build a base of solid assets. For young people who have not yet left home, it is important for parents to teach them the difference between an asset and a liability. Get them to start building a solid asset column before they leave home. Get married, buy a house, have kids, and get stuck in a risky financial position, clinging to a job and buying everything on credit. I see so many young people who get married and trap themselves into a lifestyle that will not let them out of debt for most of the working years. For many people, just as the last child leaves home, the parents realize they have not adequately prepared for retirement and they begin to scramble to put some money away. Then their own parent become ill and they find themselves with new responsibilities. So, what kind of assets I am suggesting that you or your children acquire? In my world, real estate falls in the following category: business that do not require my presence. I own them, but they are managed or run by other people. If I have to work here, it is not a business, it's my job. Stocks, bonds, income generating real estate, notes, royalties from intellectual property such as music, scripts, and patents. Anything else that has value, produces income, or appreciates and has a ready market. As a young boy, my educated dad encouraged me to find a safe job, but my rich dad encouraged me to begin acquiring assets that I love. If you don't love it, you won't take care of it. I collect real estate simply because I love building and land. I love shopping for them and I could look at them all day. When people arise, the problem are not so bad that it changes my love for real estate. For people who hate real estate, they shouldn't buy it. I also love stocks of small companies, especially startups, because I am an entrepreneur, not a corporate person. In my early years, I worked in large organizations such as Standard Oil of California, the US Marine Corps, and Xerox Corps. I enjoyed my time with those organizations and have found memories, but I know deep down I am not a company man. I like starting companies, not running them. So my stock buys are usually of small companies. Sometimes I even start the company and take it public. Fortunes are made in new stock issues and I love the game. Many people are afraid of small companies and call them risky and they are afraid, but that risk is diminished if you love what the investment is. Understand it and know the game. With small companies, my investment strategy is to be out of the stock in a year. On the other hand, my real estate energy is to start small and keep trading up for bigger properties and therefore delay paying taxes on the gain. This allows the value to increase dramatically. I generally hold real estate less than 7 years. For years, even while I was in the Marine Corps in Xerox, I did what my rich dad recommended. I kept my day job, but I still minded my own business. I was active in my asset column, trading real estate and small stocks. Rich dad always stressed the importance of financial literacy. The better I was at understanding the accounting and cash management, the better I would be analyzing investment and eventually starting the building my own company. I don't encourage anyone to start a company unless they really want to. Knowing what I knew about running a company, I wouldn't wish that task on anyone. There are times when people can't find employment and starting a company seems like the best solution, but the odds are against success. 9 out of 10 companies fall in 5 years. That of those that survive the first 5 years, 9 out of every 10 of those eventually fail as well. So only if you have really have the desire to own your own company do I recommend it. Otherwise, keep your day job and mind your own business. When I say mind your own business, I mean to build and keep your asset column strong. Once a dollar goes into it, never let it come out. Think of it this way: once a dollar goes into your asset column, it become your employee. The best thing about money is that it works 24 hours a day and can work for generation. Keep your day job, be a great hardworking employee, but keep building that asset column. Yup. As your cash flow grows, you can indulge in some luxuries. An important distinction is that rich people buy luxuries last, while the poor and middle class tend to buy luxuries first. They look rich, but in reality, they just get deeper in depth on credit. The old money people, the long term rich, build their asset column first. Then the income generated from the asset column buys their luxuries. The poor and middle class buy luxuries with their own sweet blood and children's inheritance. A true luxury is a reward for investing in and developing a real estate. For example, when Kim and I had extra money coming from our apartment houses, she went out and brought her Mercedes. It didn't take any extra work or risk on her part because the apartment house bought the car. She did, however, have to wait 4 years while the real estate investment portfolio grew and began generating enough extra cash flow to pay for the car. But the luxury, the Mercedes, was a true reward because she proved she knew how to grow her asset column. That car now means a lot more to her than simply another pretty car. It means she used her financial intelligence to afford it. Instead, most people impulsively go out and buy a new car or some other luxury on credit. They may feel bored and just want a new toy. Buying a luxury on credit card often causes a person to eventually resent that luxury because the debt become a financial burden. After you have taken the time and invested in and build your own business, you are now ready to learn the biggest secret of the rich, secret that puts the rich way ahead of the pack. So, study session, chapter 3, mind your own business. Two, three, four. Chapter summary. A friend of Robert got to hear Ray Kroc of McDonald fame speak in 1974 at the University of Texas at Austin. Afterward, Ray agreed to join the students at their favorite hangout for a few beers. He asked the students what business he was in. At first, they laughed and then they answered that he was in the business of selling hamburgers, of course. But Ray told them he was not in the hamburger business but in the real estate business. He knew that the land and location of each franchise were the most significant factors in its success. Today, McDonald's is the largest single owner of real estate in the world, owning some of the most valuable intersections and street corners around the globe. Robert's friend took that lesson to heart and today owns car washes, but his business is the real estate under those car washes. So many people work for everyone else. Their employer, the government, taxes, and the bank mortgage. What Ray Kroc and Rich Dad knew was secret number three of the rich: mind your business. Don't spend your whole life working for someone else. There is a big difference between your profession and your business. Often, Robert will ask people, "What is your business?" and they will say, "Oh, I am a banker." Then he asks them if they own the bank, and he usually respond, "No, I work there." In that instant, they have confused their profession with their business. Their profession may be a banker, but they still need their own business. Too many people spend their lives minding someone else's business and making them rich. Minding your own business doesn't mean starting a company, though for some people it will. Instead, your business revolves around your asset column, not your income column. Promotion or a better job will only help you become more financially secure if the additional money is used to purchase income generating assets. The primary reason the majority of the poor and middle class are fiscally conservative is that they have no financial foundation. They have to cling to their jobs and play it safe. They can't afford to take risks. And when hard time come, what many people thought were a set will not help them survive a financial crisis. That car has lost much of its value. Those golf clubs the same. Too often, what a bank will allow a person to list as assets on a financial statement are not true assets. Robert was once turned down for a loan because the bank didn't like how much money he made from rent and be concerned he didn't have a normal job. But they were fine with him listing suits and art of collection and other personal effects as assets. Net worth isn't the measure that people think it is. Most so called assets that people base their net worth on either are not as valuable as they think, or if they have gained value will trigger taxes on the gain if they are sold. So Robert tells people to start minding your own business, keep your daytime job, but start buying real assets, not liabilities or personal effects that have no real value once you get them home. Keep expenses low, reduce liabilities, and diligently build a base of solid assets. Parents need to teach young people this because they leave home so they understand what a true asset is and won't find themselves trapped in the lifestyle or depth. Robert says real assets fall into the following categories: business that do not require his presence, he owns them but they are managed or run by other people. If he has to work there, it is not a business, it becomes his job. Second, bonds. Third, stocks. Fourth, income generating real estate. Fifth, notes. Sixth, royalties from intellectual property such as music, strips, and patents. Seventh, anything else that has value, produces income, or appreciates and has a ready market. Acquire assets that you love. Robert loves real estate and thus spends most of his time thinking about and shopping for it. If you don't like real estate, don't invest in it. Robert also loves the stocks of small startup companies because he financial is an entrepreneur. Some are afraid of the risk of much of such small companies, but he sees these as the place to make fortunes. His strategy is to be out of the stock in a year. Oh, his real estate strategy, on the other hand, is to start small and keep trading up for bigger properties and delaying taxes on the gains, holding real estate less than 7 years. Even while working for the Marines and Xerox, Robert minded his own business. He kept his day job but was active in his asset column, trading real estate and small stocks. The more he understood accounting and cash management, the better he was at analyzing investment and eventually building his own company. He doesn't recommend people start a company unless they really have the desire to. Otherwise, he advises them to keep their day job and mind their business, building and keeping their asset column strong. As cash flow grows, people can indulge in luxuries, but only if the cash flow supports them. Build the asset column and let income generated by those assets pay for the luxuries. Left hemisphere moment: when assets generate enough income to cover luxuries, that's when you can buy them. Right hemisphere: think creatively about what your business is. It's not your profession. Subconscious moment: acquire the type of asset you love because you will take care of them and enjoy learning about them. What was Robert saying? Now it's time to reflect. Ask yourself, what is Robert saying in this quote, and why does he say that? In this section, you do not need to agree or disagree with Robert. The goal is to understand what Robert is saying. Remember, this curriculum is designed to be cooperative and supportive. Two minds are better than one. If you do not understand what Robert is saying, do not shy away from it. Ask for help in understanding. Take the time, discuss each quote until you understand it. To become financially secure, a person needs to mind his own business. The rich focus on their asset column while everyone else focus on their income statement. Financial struggle is often directly the result of people working on their lives for someone else. Many people will simply have nothing at the end of their working days to show for their efforts. One of the main reason net worth is not accurate is simply because the moment you begin selling your assets, you are taxed for any gains. Once a dollar goes in, it never let it come out. Think of it this way: once a dollar goes into your asset column, it becomes your employee. The best thing about money is that it works 24 hours a day and can and work for generations. An important distinction is that people buy luxuries last, while the poor and middle class tend to buy luxuries first. The poor and middle class buy luxuries with their own sweet blood and children's inheritance. Additional question. Now it's time to take the stories in this chapter along with the understanding of what Robert was saying and apply them to you and your life. Ask yourself the questions below and discuss them with your study partner. Be honest with yourself and your partner. If you do not like some of the answers you are giving, ask yourself if you are willing to change and accept the challenge to change your thoughts and mindset. What is your profession and what is your business? How do they differ? What are things you might have counted in your net worth before reading this chapter? How do you view them now? Are the asset column you are acquiring the type that you love? If not, how can you manage that? What is a time you bought a luxury that your cash flow couldn't justify? What is a time you did so when it could justify the purchase? Compare how you left in the two situations, both at the moment of purchase and later. Have there been people in your family who have spent their whole lives working for someone else only to end up with nothing? What would you have advised them if you could? Term definition bond, a debt security in which the authorized issue owns a holder a debt and is obliged to repay the principal and interest at a later date. Termed maturity entrepreneur, someone who creates a system to offer a product or service in order to obtain a profit. Entrepreneurs are willing to accept a level of risk to pursue opportunity and are viewed as fundamentally important in the capitalistic society. Financial statement, a statement of your income, expenses, assets, and liabilities. Your report card when you leave school, and your banker wants to see before lending you money. Stock, the capital raised by a corporation through the distribution of shares. We have done our chapter third complete. Next is chapter four. 172, 147, nearly 25 pages. Here. 20 pages? 25 pages. Yup. Thank you. Bye bye.